Shalom Israel, first and foremost, to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua Ba'Shem Kakadash, that born to the apostles, nails great millstone for teaching us this truth, peace and blessings. Just hope like visual Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'Shem is the name, Yahweh Shai is the name of the begotten Son. Back on the lesson, as he was entitled, going to go into these brain C-hips that are now in China, that are actually now being prescribed and being given out, and especially soon coming to Babylon the Great, aka America. You already see the various promises that Elon Musk has been making, but he's being used as the main forefront for this Neuralink, the brain C-hip here in Babylon the Great. We're also seeing various examples of that in China, dealing with the Face ID scans, and as you can hear now with the brain C-hips. And I'm saying, C-hips, which brothers also, say also, because as devil gets when it comes to particular words and these things that we dive into. So just using code. Right, this person said right here, says, I'm not religious, but this effing sounds like the MOTB. And this is especially going to go hand in hand with, the RFID C-hip, which is going to Revelation 13:16, which is the MOTB. And it also mentions that mark in the forehead. And I think the prophets have been warning and telling you of these things. And what's in the MOTB is the RFID C-hip. And you're especially going to have this Neuralink, this brain C-hip go hand in hand with it. So don't be surprised when you see these things begin to be mandated and be pushed out, which we have been saying. For example, what took place back in 2020, dealing with those lockdowns, those restrictions, those mandates that were in place, dealing with the masks, the concoction that you needed to have in order to travel, to go to your job. And we said this was coming back, but a whole lot worse. Especially, dealing with these lockdowns, which now you're having various talks of lockdowns coming back. We're just saying, lockdowns 2.0 and, calling it energy lockdowns. The prophets were right once again, but I do want to play this video, I don't want to stall it out. And I make it one or two more, because you also see situations over in Australia dealing with, digital ID, and you have people are not,
China approves world's first invasive brain chip for commercial use and use in hospitals. That means that doctors can now prescribe brain chips in China like they do drugs. It can be sold in hospitals and covered by insurance. These brain chips allow humans to control objects using only their thoughts. They insert a small implant in
and you're gonna have these implants, these C-hips be heavily incentivized,
that lets people
be promoted, in order to once you get you on board with it. Dealing with the temptation,
partial paralysis, control a robotic glove to move their hands using only their mind. People are already controlling their phones and their computers. They're able to send text messages and play video games with their minds. But what we're actually working towards is enabling humans to have more intelligence. Watch the full show on YouTube. But what we're actually working towards is enabling humans to have more intelligence. Watch the full show on YouTube.
So there you go, and many people are going to see the benefits in receiving these things, seeing these miracles that are being formed and lifted inside via this technology. And you already especially see the various things this devil is doing regarding, the conditioning, preparing people for this beast system, which is to be ran through that charagma, which is the RFID C-hip once again. And that word charagma goes, in the Greek goes to the word mark. So, especially going to it being a physical one, going to scratch, etch. So it's physical. You still have these others like camps that are heavily pushing the MOTB spiritual, that sin itself, which doesn't make sense because you get in the 17th verse, it's going to tell you won't be able to buy nor sell without it. So how are you going to buy and sell with sin? With Caesar Borgia, that's also another thing they push. How you gonna buy and sell with religion? I'm a
QX
Christian, so I can get this 80-inch flat screen TV. Thank you. Get out of here. And there's also another good point right here. It says Vietnam just wiped out. I believe it's like kind of an older type of video, if I'm correct, in December. So going back to last year, but the point still stands. These are especially the various complications that are to come for those that don't want to, pretty much bow down to this beast system. This is what's going to be at risk. You still want to be able to access the internet, your bank, go to your job, travel, and do all these various things. But you need to take a certain something. So this is why you're going to have a lot of people's hands be forced. As Vietnam just wiped out 86 million bank accounts belonging to citizens who refused to link their new digital ID. So that's also another thing. These new digital IDs are now heavily being pushed, as you're especially just seeing everything moving towards a digitized system. So you people weren't with it. So now you're being punished. Look, 86 million bank accounts belonging to citizens who refuse to link to new digital IDs. The government's push for a unified digital identity system has turned mandatory. No ID, so no access to money. Officials said it's about security and modernization. They'll be pushing this in the name of so-called security, safety, your well-being, your benefit. Excuse me, that this is something bigger and better. And especially once this economy, begins to collapse, people are going to be looking and seeking for a so-called solution. And it says, but the critics warn it's a financial blackout for millions. What do you think about this? So, like you made that point, it's just another complication and a stumbling block that a lot of people are going to end up tripping on. Because this is what's going to be at risk. These are very things the devil's going to threaten you in order to force your hand. That if you don't bow down, if you don't take, this Karagma, which is in this case right here, dealing with the digital ID, which is just another stepping stone and a example of what's to come. But if you don't bow down with this beast system, then you won't be able to do anything. All the money you saved and have, it's going to be all gone. Once you won't be able to access the internet, that's another thing has to be heavily.
Last week, the UK announced that they are.
And this is also another video right here. So RFK Jr. resist digital IDs or be a slave.
Rolling out mandatory digital IDs for all workers, and that this has to be done.
The point still stands. Continue on.
Rolling out mandatory digital IDs for all workers, and that this has to be done
so if
by 2029. And RFK Jr. has something to say about it. Watch this.
Every right that you have is transformed into a privilege contingent upon your obedience to arbitrary government dictates. It will make you a slave. And what do we do about this? What do? We resist.
And right now, people are resisting. In the UK, more than 1.6 million people have signed a petition opposing the plan for digital ID cards. And don't forget that digital IDs is the gateway to digital wallets and CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. All of this is the World Economic Plan opposing the plan for digital ID cards. And don't forget that digital IDs is the gateway to digital wallets for Agenda 2030. So, how do you feel about
seeing being pushed these CBDCs, central bank digital currency? But we're coming to that time. That's the point. Let's get the rest of these scriptures. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. And it says, woe unto them that decree and write decrees, and that write grievances which they have prescribed. So you saw that video, what took place over in Vietnam, where you had over 86 million bank accounts completely wiped. For those that didn't want to pretty much bend the knee, get this new digital ID. So imagine when it's, what's going to come to this MOTB. As a matter of fact, even worse, is going to be put online your life. So it's very especially going to have many Israelites end up buckling on that pressure and bending that knee. But it's won't know the decree and writes decrees in that right grievances which they have prescribed. This is Revelation chapter 2 and verse 10. And it says, fear none of things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast you into prison that ye may be tried. And you have tribulation 10 days, going to a certain period of time. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So we're going to be, faced with demonization, hate, as you can especially, get an example of what took place back then, in 2020. When those restrictions, those mandates were in place, when people, weren't, getting the juice, the concoction, and wearing masks, you saw how furious, people were when you didn't have or take these things. They called you selfish, crazy. You don't care about the people around. You don't care about your own family, this and that. And then look how it turned out. Now they're facing various complications. Then various people die over receiving it. But I just want to make that point, going to show, how these people were acting. You have people taking to social media, want people to be fined and jailed over not receiving and, following these things. And look what happened to them. A lot of them got taken out. A lot of people were, half their face was paralyzed, body couldn't move certain parts. Any of the prophets warned you of that. And you had various Israelites that still went up and, took that thing. Because they really didn't have no faith in the Lord. They didn't trust in Yahweh Bashmal Shai. So a lot of those other camps that have promoted and pushed that have a lot of blood on their hands. And that's also another point. If you fail the pop quiz, imagine when the test is now in session and in play. Because that was nothing but a trial and a little test for what this devil's getting ready to do with this MOTB. The harsh mandates, restrictions, which is Isaiah 10:1, those unrighteous decrees. You want to live a so-called life? Hey, take this. That also was another ploy and thing that was heavily being pushed. Now, you want things to go back to so-called way. Receive this. Take this. And people went and did. Now, it says that you may be charged with tribulation 10 days, be thou faithful unto this, now give thee a crown of life. As Revelation 3:10, it says, because thou hast kept all my patience, I also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So we're going to be tried, we're going to be tasted, we're going to be faced with that temptation, which is ultimately going to be when this MOTB is presented in front of us. And your own family members may turn against you. Your own woman may urge and push you to go out and take it. She may take it herself. If you have children, she may take them along with her to go out and take it. These are various types of situations you may come across, that you may face. But as in scriptures, the Lord's going to take care of us. May the Lord give us the strength, the spirit that we need in order to endure these coming times, to resist the temptations. And I said, because I was kept with my patience, I also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try to dwell upon the earth. Revelation 13:16 through 17, which is really the main point. That's what we're seeing now. And it's becoming a lot more apparent and a lot more clear as to what the MOTB is. And it says, and he called the both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their forehead. That y'all seeing various things going on, dealing with this RFID, see it, people taking things that of it already. Matter of fact, you have a girl on TikTok calling herself Chip Girl. That was one of the main people when you're heavily pushing on social media a while back. She used it to open her car doors, her home door, all these various things, and people were seeing the so-called benefits in it. How simple it is. You don't need to scour through all your keys, your credit cards, pull out cash, and all these various things. Because that also was another thing back in the year 2020 when you had this 6 feet thing, 6 feet apart, and people weren't wanting to take each other's cash, and that's where you had Amazon One pretty much come into play, pretty much contactless. No need to touch anything, just scan your hand and leave, this and that. So we're going to be pushing these things in the name of security, safety, your well-being, your health, and a lot of people are going to fall for it. But it says to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads, as you see with the Neuralink, which Elon Musk is heavily pushing, other companies following in suit, creating similar things, and that's we just especially played within that video where you have people over there in China are now prescribing these brain C-hips, these implants. Say we are in those times, man. Number 17, and that no man might buy or sell to he that hath the mark or the name beast or the number of his name. Very soon you won't be able to buy nor sell without it. You won't be able to do anything without it. So we're going to have a lot of people's hands be forced. The 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 9 says, even whom whose comings of the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. So you're going to have this W performing these miracles on the left-hand side through this technology. And you're going to have a lot of people be deceived by it. Because now you've seen all these promises they're making. People are paralyzed, people are walking, people are blind, people to see. But it's all going to come at a price. Your life. Because you taking and receiving this Karagma, this MOTB goes to show you are in agreement with this beast system, that you are making Esau, Edom, your God. And you're not, you're looking into it too deep. It's just a C-hip. It makes your life better, man. Come on. Because you're going to have a lot of people defending things as he went to back to 2020. With that concoction. They're like, look at you like you're crazy for not wanting to receive this thing. Isaiah 10:20. And it shall come to pass in that day, if the remnant of Israel and such stars escape the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them. So very soon will no longer be relying upon this devil, but shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. So we're relying upon our power, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah, trusting the Lord. Which very scripture going to, the Lord's going to take care of us in the midst of, this chaos, famine. And the Lord's going to find ways for us to eat, drink, to be safe, to be well kept in the midst of this time. So have faith. And this is the consequences for those that do want to receive that Karagma. For those that want to bow down to this beast system. This is the side you chose, and guess what? You laid your bed. And third agent fall them saying with a loud voice, for men to worship the beast and his image. And how you do that by receiving this Karagma. And receive his mark in his forehead. See with the Neuralink, these brain seeds, which is really the main point in this lesson. Or in his hand. So either hand you take it and you will be destroyed. That's another ploy and thing they'll try to twist and turn Revelation 13:16, because it says your right hand. So either hand you take it, you're cooked. Literally. When you take that brain implant, you're cooked. Matter of fact, you can look into various experiments and various things this devil did to these poor animals to experimenting on with these brain implants, these C-hips. You had articles coming out of various monkeys that died during these experiments. You can imagine the atrocities this devil did. And this is what they want to put within your body. Able to control you. Put certain thoughts within your mind. Make you a lifeless body, whatever the case may be. It's everything you're getting ready to see. You're speaking of Esau, Edom, the wicked. The Bible speaks, literally called the wicked. You think he's doing this for the good of humanity? Come on. This devil wants total control, and this will allow him to especially do that. For his turn, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out mixed with the cup of his indignation. He should be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb representing our Lord Yahweh Shai. So you will be destroyed. Vaporized via these dominical missiles if you don't be taken up by anything else. But that's the point right there. Just a quick little update regarding things that are happening. Though two of those videos were somewhat old, the point still stands. These are things that are only going to be more heightened. Dealing with these unrighteous decrees and things that will be put on the line, including your life. But that's why it's important to have faith and trust in the Lord. Because though you may have brothers be certain brothers be martyrs on this side, then be risen back up. They'll come back first as you get in the scriptures. But that's the point I do.